Everyday English listening. Let's listen to English every day because it helps us improve our listening skills, understand pronunciation better, learn new vocabulary, and become more confident in real conversations. Keep practicing. We are going to make decisions about things for ourselves on our own. There is a time in life when we begin to realize something important. We cannot always rely on others to tell us what to do, who to be, or how to live. As we grow, we learn that we must take control of our own decisions. We begin to understand that life is not just about following the path someone else has made. It is about creating our own. That's why we say, with strength and purpose, we are going to make decisions about things for ourselves on our own, listening to others, but trusting ourselves. It's okay to ask for advice. It's okay to learn from others. But at the end of the day, the final decision must come from within. Nobody knows us better than we know ourselves. We all come from different families, cultures, and backgrounds. Sometimes we are told how to behave, what job to choose, or how to live our lives. While some of that guidance can be helpful, it can also limit us if we never question it. There comes a time when we must stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What do I really want?" That's the moment when we begin living as our true selves. The importance of independence. Independence means being able to think, choose, and act without being controlled by others. It doesn't mean we ignore advice or forget the people who support us. It simply means that we are responsible for our own lives. When we make decisions on our own, we become stronger. We begin to understand who we really are, what we like, what we believe in, and what we want to do with our lives. This self-awareness helps us live with more confidence and direction. Making our own decisions also teaches us to take responsibility. We learn that we must live with the consequences of our actions, both good and bad. That's how we grow. Why making our own decisions matters. Making our own decisions is a key part of becoming mature and independent. It gives us confidence. When we trust ourselves to make the right choice, we begin to believe in our abilities. Freedom. We are no longer trapped by other people's opinions or fears. Growth. Even if we make mistakes, we learn valuable lessons that help us grow stronger. Respect. Others begin to see us as responsible and capable individuals. When we let others decide for us all the time, we become dependent. We might feel lost, confused, or even resentful. But when we make our own decisions, we feel proud. We feel like we're truly in charge of our own story, overcoming fear and doubt. Of course, making decisions on our own can be scary. We may fear making mistakes or upsetting someone we love. We might doubt whether we're smart or strong enough, but fear and doubt are normal. Everyone feels them, especially when they're trying something new. The secret is to keep going anyway, to take a deep breath and say, "Even if I'm scared, I will try." That's bravery. Remember, it's better to try and fail than to never try at all. Mistakes don't mean we're weak. They mean we're learning. Every mistake is a chance to do better next time. That's how we grow, making everyday decisions for ourselves. Every day, we are faced with choices. Some are small, like what to eat or wear. Others are bigger, like what to study, what job to take, or who to spend our time with. The more we practice making decisions for ourselves, the better we become at it. For example, choosing what subjects to focus on in school teaches us to follow our interests. Deciding how to manage our time helps us become more responsible. Choosing how to treat others helps us become kinder, more thoughtful people. Each small decision builds our strength, character, and independence, helping each other, while staying true to ourselves. Even though we are learning to make decisions for ourselves, it's still okay to support one another. In fact, it's a beautiful thing when friends or family help each other grow. But helping someone doesn't mean controlling them, and being helped doesn't mean giving up your freedom. Real support is about encouragement, not pressure. It's about saying, I'm here for you, not, you must do it my way. When we support each other with respect, we all grow stronger together. Examples of real-life decision-making. Let's think about some real situations where people decided to choose for themselves. A student who loves music may decide to follow a career in the arts, even when their parents want them to be a doctor. That student is listening to their passion and choosing their own path. A young woman who wants to travel might save money and plan her trip instead of staying home because others are afraid for her. That shows courage and independence. A teenager who feels different from others may decide to be open about who they are, even when people don't understand. That's a powerful decision to live truthfully. These examples show that choosing for ourselves often takes strength, but in the end, it leads to a life that feels real and meaningful. Building the future we want. The decisions we make today shape the future we live tomorrow. That's why we must be thoughtful, honest, and brave in the choices we make. We have the power to create a life full of purpose and joy, but only if we take responsibility for our direction. We must ask ourselves, what kind of life do I want to live? What makes me feel proud? What do I truly care about? When we answer these questions and make decisions based on our own truth, we begin to shape a future we can be proud of. Making decisions for ourselves is not just about being independent. It's about becoming who we truly are. Every decision we make shapes our thoughts, our future, and the kind of life we will live. In the first part, we talked about why it's important to take control of our choices. In this next part, we will explore what it means to stay committed to this path, how to handle pressure from others, and why trusting ourselves can lead to a life of peace, growth, and real happiness. Why it's worth it taking control of our decisions doesn't mean life becomes easier. In fact, sometimes it becomes more difficult. There are more responsibilities, more risks, and more chances to fail. But even with the challenges, making decisions for ourselves is worth it. Why? Because we feel alive. We feel free. We no longer feel stuck or forced to follow a life we don't believe in. We feel proud knowing that even if something goes wrong, we made the choice ourselves. That pride is powerful. It builds confidence. It builds character. And when things go right, the joy is even greater. We know that we are the ones who got ourselves there. That's the kind of satisfaction that only comes from personal responsibility and growth. Dealing with pressure from others. One of the hardest things about deciding for ourselves is learning how to deal with pressure. That pressure might come from family, friends, teachers, or even society. People may think they know what's best for us. And while some advice comes from a place of love, not all of it fits who we are. Sometimes we are told, you should study this. You should get married now. You must follow this rule. Everyone is doing this. Why aren't you? This kind of pressure can make us feel guilty or confused. But we must remember, their opinions are not our destiny. We are not here to live someone else's life. It's okay to say, I hear you, but I have to do what feels right for me. It's okay to respectfully disagree. Being kind does not mean being silent. Being respectful does not mean being controlled. The people who truly love us will learn to accept our choices, even if they don't always understand them at first. Learning to live with the results. When we make our own decisions, we must also accept the results, good or bad. That's part of being a responsible person. But the more decisions we make, the better we get at thinking things through. We learn to weigh the pros and cons. We learn to ask important questions. What are the possible outcomes? Will I be proud of this choice tomorrow? Am I doing this out of fear or out of belief? These questions help us grow wiser. Over time, we make better choices because we've learned from experience. Sometimes, even when we try our best, things still go wrong. That's okay. Failure is not the end of the road. It's a lesson. Each mistake gives us a chance to reflect and adjust. We are not weak because we failed. We are strong because we are still trying. Creating personal boundaries. Another important part of making our own decisions is learning how to set boundaries. Boundaries protect our time, energy, and well-being. When we have clear boundaries, we say, I'm not comfortable with that. I need some time to think before I decide. This doesn't feel right for me. Some people may not like our boundaries at first. They might feel rejected or disappointed. But boundaries are not about pushing others away. They're about respecting ourselves. When we are clear about what we will and won't accept, we build healthy relationships. People start to understand our limits, and we begin to feel safe and strong within ourselves. Building a stronger identity. Making decisions on our own helps us build a stronger sense of self. We learn what we stand for. We learn what we like and what we don't. We figure out our beliefs, goals, and dreams. These things give us direction and confidence. When we know who we are, we stop following the crowd. We don't just do things because everyone else is doing it. We start choosing with purpose. We create a life that matches our values. For example, if we value kindness, we choose relationships that are respectful. If we value learning, we spend time reading, studying, and asking questions. If we value health, we eat well and move our bodies. Every choice reflects who we are becoming. And the more we decide for ourselves, the more our true identity shines. Growing through the journey. This journey of making decisions on our own is lifelong. It's not something we master in one day or one year. We grow through every decision we make. Sometimes we'll make choices quickly and confidently. Other times, we'll feel stuck and uncertain. That's normal. The important thing is to keep learning, keep reflecting, keep adjusting. We may outgrow old ideas. We may change our minds. That doesn't mean we're weak. It means we're evolving. Life is not about being perfect. It's about being real, honest, and open to growth, supporting others on their journey. As we become more confident in making our own choices, we can also become a support system for others. We don't need to tell others what to do, but we can encourage them to think for themselves. We can ask, what do you want? What feels right in your heart? How can I support your decision? When we create a space for people to be themselves, they begin to grow too. They begin to feel more confident, and together we build a community of strong, thoughtful individuals. The power of trusting yourself. At the heart of it all is self-trust. When we trust ourselves, we don't panic when things are uncertain. We don't freeze when we have to choose. We take a deep breath and believe, I can handle this. Self-trust grows every time we listen to our gut, follow our values, and take action that matches our beliefs. It becomes a quiet strength inside us. It becomes our guide. And once we have that, nobody can take it away. Final thoughts. We live in a world full of noise, opinions, and pressure, but deep inside us is a voice that knows what we truly want. That voice deserves to be heard. That voice deserves respect. That's why we must keep saying it, clearly and confidently. We are going to make decisions about things for ourselves, on our own, because we believe in our future, because we trust our path, because we are ready to live, not just exist. Let us continue walking boldly, growing deeply, and choosing bravely, step by step, day by day, becoming the people we were always meant to be. Making decisions for ourselves is not about being selfish or ignoring others. It's about learning to stand on our own feet. It's about taking charge of our own lives and growing into the people we are meant to be. Yes, there will be challenges. Yes, we will sometimes feel unsure. But every time we choose for ourselves, we become braver, wiser, and more free. So let us say it clearly and confidently. We are going to make decisions about things for ourselves, on our own. Not because we want to push others away, but because we are ready to live fully, grow deeply, and walk proudly on a path we create with our own hearts and hands.